Hi, I'm Zig, and I'm a talking slime who likes to just yap sometimes. As you could probably tell by my accent, I am American, and more specifically, I'm from... Okay, you read the title, let's just cut to the chase. I'm gonna explain why I hate living in Indiana. Okay, for some context, I live in the U.S. state of Indiana, from sort of a small village on the western side of the state. Rural Indiana really isn't that much different from other rural parts of the Midwest. Yeah, it's kind of all just farms. But before I start complaining too much, I might as well just go over some of the positive things about living here, because no matter where you live, there's always going to be some good things about living there. Unless you live in somewhere like Yemen or Afghanistan or Nebraska. The first thing I want to mention is the safety. Indiana's not exactly the safest state, but I think that's probably just because there's a couple of places in Indiana, looking at you, Gary, that have like all the crime, but then the rest of the state is more or less relatively safe. I mean, still, this is America, so you have to deal with the whole shootings and all that stuff, but still, I don't have to look over my shoulder every night, worried I'm going to get robbed. Second, the scenery. I know the Midwest isn't known for having the best scenery, except for the skies. The skies here are genuinely incredible. But even here in Indiana, there's some pretty good scenery. There's some nice parks to visit and stuff, and some cool nature. Pretty much wherever you live, there's bound to be some cool scenery near you, unless you live in Nebraska. It is a place where I can just get out and enjoy nature, though, which is a good thing. The last thing I wanted to mention are the people. The people around here are really nice. They're pretty hospitable and always open to chat. When I walk around, people wave, and it's just... Overall, the people here are pretty pleasant for the most part. Anyways, now I'm going to start complaining. The main issue I have with this place is how absolutely boring it is. Like there's nothing fun to do. There's never any real new scenery to see. I want to see, like, mountains and cliffs and skyscrapers and interesting architecture and different cultures and cuisines. But you don't really get that around here, unfortunately. Usually in your small town, the most exciting thing that you have in terms of entertainment is your local Walmart. Other than that, it's all just corn. There's a saying around here, like, there's more than corn in Indiana. But that's actually true, because we also have soybeans. Other than that, there's not much. And even on a nationwide level, it seems like there's so many interesting things to do and see in the United States, but all of them are really far, and I feel like I live in like one of the biggest areas where there isn't really much interesting stuff nearby. Like no really cool national parks or like cultural sites or anything. There's not much history or anything of that nature. So yeah, I can get kind of bored easily. The second thing I wanted to mention is the weather. Holy crap, the weather. The weather around here is just super chaotic and unpredictable. I think people around here tend to talk about weather more than anything else, just because it can change on a whim. Like one day it'll be 80 degrees Fahrenheit and sunny, and the next day it'll be literally blizzard. Indiana is the only place where you can experience all four seasons in a single day. It's wild. And I also hate the winters. The winters are cold as sin. Honestly, the worst part about the winter isn't really the cold or the snow. It's just the ice that gets everywhere. It's just super slippery and you can't really drive anywhere. And living in America, you kind of have to drive, especially in a rural area where like there's nothing nearby. So you have to drive to get anywhere. Yeah. Another thing is those friendly people I mentioned before can be really closed-minded. Of course, this is America, one of the most polarized nations on the planet, politically and stuff. But yeah, everyone's kind of stuck to their own opinion, and if you try to tell them otherwise, they will yell and scream, and Indiana is no exception. I really don't want to talk about politics too much in this video, but yeah, everyone's just so set in their opinions and echo chambers, and everyone's kind of isolated in communities that share the exact same beliefs as them, so they never really get any other information. So yeah, that kind of makes me feel like it's kind of hard for me to belong anywhere. Another thing I really don't like is just all of the ominous shadows from the massive eldritch entities that exist out east,
Wow, did bro really just make an Ohio joke in 2025? That's a dead meme.
Okay, moving on. The last thing I wanted to mention is the normal America stuff, like the food here is inedible because it has so many chemicals and crap in it, and it's making us sick and giving us all cancer. Of course, yeah, there's always the pew-pews, and thankfully slimes aren't vulnerable to gunshots since we don't exactly have any internal organs to pierce. But still, it's always sad being in an environment where all the chaos and death is happening and you're just hearing about a new shooting on the news every day, and it's just unpleasant. Hospital bills are always like $1 billion. But yeah, I know I've complained a lot in this video, but I know I do have it pretty well compared to a lot of other people around the world. And there are a lot of real major world issues that don't really affect me around here, and I'm pretty grateful for that. But still, I really wanted to give my honest opinion about living here, give off some of the positives, negatives, and everything in between. All in all, I know my life's not the worst, but it's also not the best, so I am still hoping to get out of here and go somewhere better eventually. So if you like and subscribe, maybe someday we can get this channel monetized and I can use that money to get out of here. Anyways, thanks for listening to me. I love you all and hope you have a great day. Bye-bye.